Start. Okay, I think we're confident, and it's now saying end broadcast. It looks like it's still playing a broadcast. That's fine. Cool. All right, so I'll start again. So this is Amass Games. My name's Simon. I'm here with Kim. We have previously spoken last month. Unfortunately, due to a sound issue, which seemed to be it not picking up my voice, it had Kim's perfectly, as it is again today. Although this time round, it seemed to have more of an issue over in Idaho for some reason. And I was going to ask what's the weather like. I know it was just above freezing last time.
Yes, and we got another dusting of snow 2 days ago, about
Okay.
3 inches, but it melted. So nothing like what my folks and my sister are getting in the middle of the country.
Okay.
They're getting like over half a foot and more. And then of course the East Coast is like experiencing, Stormageddon. So very, very mild comparatively.
Good. Yeah, I have heard of the carnage that's going over there. I was in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Americas, but about 40 latitude south or longitude south. So yeah, just getting in the winter rays for a brief sojourn from the lack of vitamin D we're getting up further north as we're all experiencing at the minute. So what I was going to do initially is there's a few things I was going to mention as a very quick recap, which I've got on the phone here from an email of what we discussed last time round. So of course, if anyone
Yeah.
wants to be involved in that, we can come back onto those topics another time. And we talked about numerous things. We talked about Mysterium Park that you've enjoyed, and obviously the comparisons with Dixit, Mysterium, and I played the Ukrainian, the more darker version of Mysterium as well. World of Warcraft Pandemic, the Gansha and Clever trilogy, where we've talked about our favourites and things like that. Full Throttle, which you introduced me to, which I haven't played yet. The new Freedom and Freeze game. Cloud Age, we talked about Return to Dark Tower, which we'll come back to. Fleet and the
Yeah.
Dice variant, Sutter's Mill, which I think went out on the channel yesterday. Lord of the Rings, which I actually set up again to play earlier today. The English version now, not the German one. And The Crew, Exit the Advent Calendar, and the Detective Society. So I know you've been playing. I had a brief look at your channel earlier. I know that you have played The Return to Dark Tower. Have you just played it co-op, or just competitive, or both, or how many times have you played it?
So just cooperative, and I think 2 or 3 times. Each one felt different in the sense that we played all different opponents and they function differently. And of course, the kind of I call the big baddie has a very different flavor. So it changes what you do, but the game itself has this really nice foundation, very streamlined, super easy. I do this, I do that, and I do this, and my turn's over. So turns go pretty fast, and the tower and the app really just run the whole thing for you. So it's nice to have that cooperative feel where you're all really feeling like you're on the same team together because no one has to run any of the other characters, like the opponents. And so I like it. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't played with the larger amount of players that I wanted to, up to four. I
Yeah.
wanted to see how that felt as compared to 2 players, which is just the game I play with my husband. And then I also haven't tried competitive. So there's still a lot to explore, but it's such a interesting and very memorable game. It leaves you with stories, and I really like that.
Great. Okay. Well, I know
Yeah.
the chap I'll play with on a Wednesday, which has now become our kind of co-op Wednesdays. We still have a couple more campaigns to do for Tainted Grail because it is a full 15 game campaign. I think we misread it, thinking we could have ended it early at 12. So I'm glad we didn't. It is a bit of a chore sometimes going through certain bits to repeat them. But yes, as with many different Kickstarter games at the moment, the UK is the last in the world typically to get stuff. I've actually had some games arrive after 2 years, but they weren't Kickstarter. They've just been various delays, I think, with COVID. So Tekenyu and Tawatanitsu arrived in the last week or so. So that's the new T series of games, the Sulkin games. So
Yes, yes.
very heavy
Okay.
games. I haven't opened them yet, but there's 85 opening moves in Tawatanitsu. So yeah, I'm a bit nervous to be honest, but I have played David Turchi's other games, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they work out because some of the ratings have dropped slightly. I'm not saying it's gone badly; it's still like 7.6 at least, but the complexity has gone up as more people have rated them. So it's now
Yeah.
4.09 for at least one of them.
Wow.
Which,
Okay.
yeah, because of course I won't spoil your mid-weight, mid to heavyweight list that yourself and Lewis did. But yeah, this would definitely be, in my view, probably in the heaviest category.
I think so.
Um,
Yeah. And I think someone even mentioned one of mine was 3.9, and they're
yeah,
like, that's pretty much on the heavier of the medium weight. So maybe it should bump into the lighter of the heavyweights.
yeah. I mean,
So
I
yeah.
think the Lacerda games, as heavy as they are, they're not that difficult once you get into them. I'm not sure about these games because, um, again, without spoiling, I know Arnak is something you like, but I know that whilst it's not difficult, I think when you have analysis paralysis, which you can get with 85 opening moves when there's all good options,
Mm.
it allows you to think, actually, does this make it crunchy? And I think crunchiness is a form of heavyweight game, potentially, because you're thinking about more different options. I mean, chess, you
Yeah.
could also think of that too. But
Yeah.
anyway, this is what we're riffing, which is kind of what I was keen to get
That's
into. Which
oh, that's fantastic.
so yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Oh, and the Mini Express arrived, the collector's edition, which is there's a capstone, of course, brought that Arc Nova, and they made a
Mm.
game which is a kind of stock holding game for 3 to 5 for building trains, a bit like Transamerica. But this one is the
Mhm.
same kind of principle, about 60 minutes, but it's a 1 to 5 player game. So the fact that you can try and play this as a two seems quite interesting. And
Yeah.
also the fact I could play it solo was also quite interesting, just to give that a shot, so to speak. So yeah, so yeah,
Well,
what's your thought on that?
right now, of course, I want to make sure. Oh, there, it's not. So there's two Robin Hoods. I don't know if I told you the story last time, but Lewis bought Robin Hood thinking he was buying the Adventures of, which
Yeah,
is the cooperative, where you have your little pawns and you have to mark your way across the map in real space.
yeah,
And it's a cooperative adventure legacy.
Cosmos.
Um, we've been playing that, but the very first game he actually got was Robin Hood and
The Merry Men.
the Merry Men, and he
Yeah,
read the whole rules and set it up, and then he came back and said, "I don't think this is the Spiel des Jahres."
no,
I was like, "No, those are two very different games."
yeah, the catapults and
So
stuff, and
yeah,
yeah,
we want to exactly. It looks very interesting. I just watched his kind of run through by himself. I didn't get to actually play it just yet, but we've been finishing that. I say legacy, but really just campaign of
yeah,
Robin Hood, and it's. I think we're very close, but I'm not sure exactly how many. Kind of like you, I thought it was a certain number, and then I don't know if it kind of just keeps going. So
yeah.
we'll see. But that is something we're wrapping up, and it's been really fun. I've
Cool.
enjoyed it a lot.
I did have some
Yeah, not
promos
too
actually.
heavy.
No, no, I did have some promos because I think there's a deluxe version as well for Robin Hood. I haven't opened my Adventures of Robin Hood one yet, the Michael Menzel one yet. I think my shelf of shame has increased slightly to about 35, but I have managed to whip through a few other ones. So yeah, a few other games are on their way. Some from where are they coming? Oklahoma. Something's coming from there. There's a couple of Kickstarter
Hmm.
previews as well. I think March is just everybody wants to release a game in March, which
Yes.
I don't necessarily. I say to them sometimes, "Whoa, no, that's too soon for you. You shouldn't be doing this." And then I've managed to persuade them otherwise. But they always
Oh,
think March the 1st, and that isn't necessarily the right. It's the right time for the right time, isn't it? So
it's overwhelming. I've been getting a lot of requests, and I've been getting a lot of games, and so it's like, yeah, I can't. I can only take so many
mm,
before I and the channel are overwhelmed. But then me as a player, I'm like, I'm overwhelmed too. So
yeah,
it's tough, and you don't want to support too many, but they all come at once, and you kind of think, well, this sounds great, and that sounds great. So I yes, I hear
yeah.
you.
Yeah, I saw you had. Is it Rolling Realms? I saw you had a preview for that, which looks really interesting by John D. Clare.
Yeah.
So, of course, another game that is a fan of the friend of
Oh,
mine,
Rolling
Alex.
Heights.
Rolling Heights, that
Sorry,
was it.
Rolling Heights. Yeah, yeah.
So I know there's another game called Realms or
There
something.
is. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's Stonemeyer,
that was
where
it. Is
all
that
of
Rolling? That is Rolling Realms, isn't it? Yeah, because
it's rolling around.
I played the print to play version, but tomorrow I might
Yeah.
be playing the real version. But you may be aware of the dice listening videos. But it turns out that someone who has now bought the proper version, the dice are just too big for the dice tower, so I can't compare it compared to the other
They're
distances.
huge.
They're big. Yeah,
they're really big, yeah. And I like that they're big. They don't have to be. You can just use regular dice, obviously.
yeah,
And the print and play would be a fantastic way to experience that game, mostly because it's just everyone gets their set of cards that they do their dry erase on. So
yeah,
super easy to do that. And the dice are just there because you can have a box and offer some really chunky dice.
Yeah.
But yes, the Rolling Heights, it was very fun. And as I kind of did a brief like turn or two of the game to show how it works, I just kept getting more excited about rolling my meeples, mostly because I liked Cupidos, and that's by John
Oh
D. Clare as
yes.
well. And so I really like that press your luck of if you have half, then you can keep going if you are successful. And there's just some really nice mechanics in that game too. So
Cool. It seems very
yeah.
different though to his other games. It seems very different to the likes of Edge of Darkness, who my friend who is really into obviously
Mm,
getting Return to Dark Tower. Obviously, it seems a very
yeah.
different game. So I don't know if you can compare it to anything else, or is Cubidos the best in terms of it seems most likely to be like it?
I'm going to say Cubidos, really, because of the dice rolling. I know that there's a bag building, but with that, the meeples, you have up to 10 you can roll in your turn. And so if
Okay.
you have more, then you have to select them. And each of the meeple types gives you a different kind of a benefit, much like the dice in Cubidos. And the press your luck phase is almost identical. So
Okay.
I think that works well. But then, of course, there's the whole map building and resource collecting to do all of the skyscrapers and everything like that. But Edge of Darkness, yeah, very very different,
Really?
but very enjoyable. Like I really like Edge of Darkness. I think it made one of my top fives a while back.
So how many levels have you played of Edge of Darkness? If you or have
I
you
would
played
say a
more than?
handful,
Okay.
not all of them, but just a handful. And I like the sleeving. I love the cube tower. I love just all of it. I really
Have
do get
you
like that.
any of the expansions? I don't know if you backed on Kickstarter or if you were sent it or anything like that.
If we do, I don't think we've included them.
Okay, so you haven't
Yeah,
opened it. The same with Tainted Grail.
yeah,
Haven't touched any of the expansions yet, so it's
yeah.
another thing to do at some point. So
I have the problem of when you incorporate the expansion, then I forget that that's not part of the base game. And so sometimes I have a really hard time remembering if I've actually played with expansion materials or not. So that's one of my issues. I should probably take better notes, but that's what happens to me.
cool. I know we talked potentially about conventions last time. Where
Hmm.
you have you ever been? Have you heard about Essen much? Have you ever thought about obviously seeing a Spiel des Jahres being announced live? Sounds like Lewis would love that.
Yeah, I think so. It's never been truly doable for us. Normally, we've always gone to Board Game Geek, and that is right after Essen, and both of those fall right in the middle of our fall term
Yeah.
at college. So our teaching semester, it's not necessarily great for our schedules. And of course, the distance is a lot for us to go all the
Yeah.
way over there. I did have possibly one chance that I could go. I was working for Queen Games for a year, and
Oh
I thought
wow.
perhaps, yeah, in Germany, I was like, this is the perfect company to work for. So I was very close to going, and then that year of work for them wrapped up pretty quickly, and it was right before Essen. So I was like,
Wow.
rats.
Which year was this?
um,
Which year were you working with Queen?
oh, that was probably 12 years ago,
Oh, okay.
I
Way
think.
way longer before
Way
probably anyone I know.
longer. Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. So yeah, it was right before and right when I moved to Idaho from Oklahoma. So
Okay.
yeah.
So what games do you still have from those days when they said, "Oh, okay, have this, get used to this, and stuff like that"? I'm
Oh,
thinking, yeah.
I could maybe try to angle. I
Okay.
have my queen section
Oh, cool. I think you showed
right
me a
past
preview
my.
before. Is it on your
Is
right
it?
or my right?
Oh, this way.
Yeah, yeah, it was right. Your right.
Is that the right way? Yeah. So it's
Oh,
just
cool.
all
Wow.
you can kind of see all the colors
Yeah.
of the queen game.
Yeah, because I have some
Yeah.
non-yellow Queen games. I'm trying to think what it's called. Oh, Totem from 1995. Have you heard of that one?
Non-yellow. No, I don't think I know that one.
Okay, so it's a very well. I find it very interesting, but it's extremely crunchy. But it's very like it's kind of like Stone Age without the dice, whereby you're trying to kind of
Oh.
build a totem. I still haven't done a video yet because I've only played this at two, and I don't like to do a video until I've done all different player counts typically. But and it's a bit some of the theme isn't great because basically you have the men who are hunters and the women who have children, so it's not very
Oh,
modern, let's
sure.
say. Is I don't know who designed it, but I think different codes exist when you have German games back then.
Sure.
So and it was up against Catan, I guess. So basically, yeah, you have a flipper disc, which basically means you're going to be having either a male child or a female child, and then eventually they're going to a bit of a generation progresses, part of the game progresses, and then they're going to become obviously teenagers, so they can start hunting, they can start hitting something, or they can start having children because they're a teenager. And then the next age is then they're going to be like middle age, but they're still being able to hunt, they're still able to have children, and then become old, which means they can't hunt and they can't have children, but that all of these ages need to be fed. So very much like Stone Age, that kind of feed your people thing. But
Mm.
you kind of want to be expanding yourself because you're trying to control more huts. There's 4 huts to control. You can choose where you want to control because there might be some food in various locations. But what's interesting is you have to balance it to make sure that you have enough women to have children to stay alive for future generations, but also enough men to have enough food. So it's a constant battle between the two. So it's a very interesting dynamic, as you can imagine, but quite tricky to. It's like trying to turn a cruise ship. It goes very slowly to try and correct yourself, if that makes sense. So it's
Yeah.
yeah, you want to kind of go 50-50, but sometimes you go, well, no, there's food here. I want to try and get more men, or I'm trying to do whatever. But sometimes you think, well, actually, I want to grow more, which means you want to go for women. So it's a bit of an engine builder, but you could definitely take in 2 different directions. Do you want to try and get more people, or do you want to get more food? And of course, you need more food to get more people, or sorry, more food for more people, or do you want more people to then get more food? So there's no right or wrong that we've discovered so far. So that's very an open strategy, which is cool, but very cool concept. So hopefully that sounds quite like, oh, that's quite interesting. And it takes about 2.5 hours it took for a 2 for our first game, which is fairly significant. But then again, for your first game, that's not terrible. Hopefully it does speed up, especially
And
for new players.
what year is that? I for some reason
1995, I believe. T
it's
O
like there
T
was,
E M.
yeah, yeah,
But yes, on my list of games that I have. But yeah, it's one of my
yeah,
other games that I haven't recorded a game for. So in time I hope
nice.
for. But I picked that up at Essen actually. So I've also got
Oh, fantastic.
Tomb. Is it Tomb Raiders or something like that? From no Thebes. Thebes the Tomb Raiders. So I loved the initial game called Thebes, and then I picked.
I love Thebes.
Yeah,
Thebes is great.
I don't
It's
think
probably
I've.
my favorite queen.
Yeah, so that's probably my favorite Queen presently too. But I haven't played,
Yeah.
haven't even unwrapped the Tomb Raider one, which I deliberately got a German version. I only paid not much money for it. It's 2 figures, but it wasn't big. But it isn't German. But I know it's obviously universal. But you don't get
Yeah.
that track, so you can't move around places. But Tom Vassell said, "Oh no, you don't need to move around." I think it's nice. But when I saw this copy come up for sale, I was like, "No, I'm going to get that." So that was
That's
good.
great. No, thanks
Um,
for the tip.
so I'm hopefully I'll do a video again for that one. So how many other games do you have lined
Yeah.
up to either do for your schedule, or because I know you do it about 3 times a
Oh,
week. So
yeah. Actually, I'm really excited. I'm going to do a heavier roll and write 3 games. And so I just recently got Three Sisters. It was a Kickstarter support. So I got that in, and it's heady. So it's like I'm thinking 45 minutes to 60 minutes is kind of like my range for the heavier roll and writes. And then I also haven't played, but am going to be taught Hadrian's Wall, which
okay,
players have lots of sheets of giant in front of them. It's just a lot going on, but very uh, streamlined and straightforward and easy and delightful to play, I hear. So I'm going to get that under my belt. And then I have another roll and write that is
Garfield
at
games, isn't it? I think.
absolutely escaping me. And maybe it's just those two, but I'm really excited about that because I haven't done anything where I've ranked my roll and writes, but I didn't actually talk about some of those hardier ones. And I think,
Roar and Write,
they
maybe.
definitely, yeah. I don't think it's that. I don't think we have that.
Because I know you've obviously like the heavy
Yeah,
Fleet
yeah,
the dice game, which I haven't played yet.
exactly. Yeah,
But
and that's really good.
so David Tertiary, he did do Roman Roll, which is a really heavy
Oh,
Roman Roll because it's kind of a worker placement one as well. Have you played the first Roll and Write game? I may have mentioned before. I want to say St. Marlow, I think it's called. So you write on boards.
Saint Malo, Malo.
Yes, I've been there
We have
in France.
we have that. I haven't been there. We have it. It's right over there. It's not ringing a bell though, so
Okay,
maybe it's just been way too long since I
I think
played
it was
it.
2016. I don't know. It was around that time, but it was supposedly one of the earliest
Okay.
on the rights.
Wow. It's
But
only been
it doesn't seem that
six
long ago,
years.
does it?
Yeah,
Um,
it doesn't.
so today I played
Oh,
Codenames. Oh, go on. Yep.
ooh. Oh no, that's exciting. I want to hear.
Well, we played 4 games. We played one, and we thought, well, let's see if the other team can win. And then it became 1-1. So we switched the teams around, and then it became 2-1. And then let's play another game. Someone said, and then it became 2-2. And at that point, I was like, no,
Ooh.
I've got work to do tonight, guys. So, which is not, in case you're wondering, it's not work. I had a nap basically because I'm still a bit jet lagged. So, had that. So yeah, how many other
That's great
games?
though.
So what were you going to say? You said St. Marlow and
Oh, I was just saying, oh, it's so far away, and I'm going to say it wrong. It was another brand new release. Part of the title is Caper.
okay, I know there's a game called Caper and there's the
Is it
European
the
one.
Caper? Yeah.
Okay,
Played that. It's just a two-player game. Really interesting. Has some of that push and pull, tug of war that I'm not the biggest fan of, but it's very strategic though. So there are ways to obviously say, well, I don't even care about that section. There's no way I'm going to win that war, but I can maybe do this one over here. And the cards are really interesting, and they have different cities. We played with the Paris cards that added just a different flavor to it. But yeah, it's all of those European countries as part of the groups. I think there are four of them, and you play with cards to steal a bunch of gems and artifacts, and you have money that buys you other abilities. It's a nice kind of light two-player with a little bit more going on underneath the surface, and that was a delight too. I played that since last we spoke.
cool, excellent. I've seen you've got
Yeah,
Arkwright behind you. Speaking of from light to heavy, is that probably the heaviest game you've played, or one of the heaviest? Your other
which
shoulder,
side?
there, above Fury of Dracula and Rising Tide.
Above.
Is that
Oh
right?
gosh, ooh, it's no, I not recently. It's yeah. I'll just say it's hard.
Yeah, I haven't played it. When I was speaking to Julia, I said about the heaviest game she's played, and she said Food Chain Magnet actually is what she believes to be the heaviest. But
I have some feel it thoughts about
oh
food
right,
chain magnet.
I got lucky when I played
People,
it. I didn't win, but at least I had more of an idea of going into it how to
yeah,
hopefully not mess up. So
yeah. I think it's just a very unforgiving game, and so I just played Imperial Steam, which I would say is on the heavier end of games and
yep,
train games, but uh, you can't mess up in that game. The margin of error is, I wouldn't even say small. You can't do it. You just can't mess up. And so yeah,
it's interesting
I tried to
how
recover, and I got very close. I had a nice, uh, decent second place finish, but it was I didn't have a chance to win because I kind of flubbed in the beginning.
cool. So I know that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of code names, actually, we're saying how I don't know how. I mean, I knew about the games he made prior. I knew about the cards, which are identical to his prior games, which have led to code names. But interestingly, I don't know how if you can design a game whereby you want it to be one thing and it's something else. In terms of unlike Food Chain Magnet, where you don't have many other options, and this is like, well, I can do this, but they might think that. And it's very much a game you almost discover when you design the game, whereby you get the audience feedback, whereby you're saying, I want them to guess, for example, I think I used the word online, and one of the four words that I knew that could be relevant were roulette, date, post, as in mail, so online mail, and so net. I mean, net, date, roulette, and post. And I knew I didn't want them to get roulette. And it was their first guess. But sometimes with a game like that, I don't mind it because hopefully it's a clean sweep. They have three now guesses that they can help for that. You'll probably say elephant four, and I don't know, it was hippo or something. So they can just go,
Mhm.
the other three, you can like, I like to meta it because they can't have three bonus guesses.
Oh
They can only
yeah,
get one, but at least hopefully
yeah.
they might know to go, but that's
No,
interesting.
that's when you're with the group and you know how to play the game. When I
Oh,
teach
yeah.
it, I almost rarely give them the idea or the opportunity that they keep saying more than what they mean
Yeah,
because they're not going to get it. Like I just say, okay, you say your number, you say that thing, and you can get one more after to pick up the remainders. But I don't. I'm like, you can't. That's an advanced play, the meta. Yeah, yeah, you're
cool.
playing it, which is great. I love that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, there's something really wonderful about that game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I mentioned it last time that when I played, I thought this will be the Spiel.digital. I don't know if Lewis had played it back then, but yeah, for about 4 or 5 years, I was predicting them year after year, and then I think either Wingspan or the one prior to it, I didn't predict because I just preferred
Ah,
other games that year. But there's not a massive divide. There's a massive, huge love for Wingspan, but I know that like myself and Quinn's from Shut Down, I give it 7 out of 10. I wouldn't give it, really, really high. I think partially because you can work on one goal and then that goal could change if if you didn't do well at it. But one thing I was going to mention whilst I was away were some books that came out last year, some board game novels that arrived. I started reading, having just finished one a couple of days ago or yesterday. It's the Pandemic, the novel. So basically, Pandemic, the board
Ooh.
game, the novel. And I'm only 3 chapters in, which is about, I don't know, 8%. And it's very interesting in the fact that it's got all the characters from, obviously, you've got the dispatcher, hey, my name's this, and hi, I'm the research and data scientist and stuff. I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
two flaws in it so far. One of them is they talk about going to Lyon and to Edinburgh, which are not on the map. They
No.
talk about Lima. I'm like, fine, good. I'm very excited. I saw
Sure.
Lima. I was like, and then they said, hi, I'm the chief. I'm the the operations guy. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. But the other thing is, it came out last year. Remember this book? But it said, oh, remember that kind of COVID thing in 2020 and 2021, that pandemic. I think like, oh
Remember.
dear, they're a bit hopeful, weren't they? Considering they're meant to be experts. So obviously that hasn't gone away yet. So there's
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's
No.
very interesting so far. I don't know much. It seems very much like COVID. I think they've kind of rewritten COVID as pandemic, the thing.
Yeah.
But I've realised I've played all but one pandemic game. I know you've got a lot behind you.
Hmm.
How many have you played all of them, or how many?
Yeah, we've played them all for
Wow.
sure. So yeah, I guess they're right here. These guys. So yeah, we got Cthulhu, the original, Fall of Rome, Iberia, The Cure. We've got the little. Oh, there's Rising Tide,
Yep.
and then I think we have our smaller ones across over on the other shelf, like the one that has the
Hot
little
zone.
petri dishes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The
Yeah, where you actually play the disease instead of the other way around. Um,
so because I have the
right?
only one I
Isn't that
haven't
the one?
the only one I haven't played is Hot Zone Europe. I've played the American one, but I haven't played Hot Zone
Oh,
Europe.
then that's it too, because we have Hot Zone North America, but we
Yeah.
don't have Hot Zone Europe. But I assume it's just a different map, but it's the same like features
Yeah.
of smaller version, shorter amount of time, really
Yeah.
streamlined,
That was
super
13
streamlined.
minutes to play in the first. I was actually quite
Oh,
skeptical,
so
thinking it wouldn't
short.
be that good, but it was so good an experience. The I
It's
like the
fun.
characters, and the generalist is there too. But the European one, the characters don't seem as good. Like, I feel like they put all the decent characters in the
Oh,
first game. Um, but the ratings are slightly higher, I suppose, strangely, for Europe. I don't know
that's
why that is.
interesting.
But
Have you had a chance to play the World of Warcraft
oh yeah,
pandemic?
I played it again yesterday. I did a solo playthrough on
Fantastic.
Mythic. So yeah, I
Oh
tried.
my gosh.
Yeah, I tried that yesterday. Or was it yesterday morning? I think it was. Yeah. So I tried on Mythic solo, having played. I've won it on easy. I won it on medium, whatever it is. Hard, we lost when we played as a 2 or 3. But I found there are definite ways which you have to learn. Like we've learned how to lose now, and I've also learned how to lose solo on Mythic. So now I know, right, okay. And it does get quite. It was quite interesting. It was my first playthrough of it recorded. So yeah, I think that goes live tomorrow. I think I've got a recorded playthrough for that. And a playthrough something else. There's another game that I've seen that you released about 4 weeks ago, which I still haven't got around to doing a video for. But it's just I've been doing, like I said, a video every day since like May, and it's just when do I do it? But it's because I haven't finished
Yeah.
it yet, and that is Crack the Code. So again, have you played through all of
Mhm.
it and all play accounts, or did
Mhm.
you just play? Just playing a bit of it. So
Yeah, just playing a bit of it with just the two of us. We did some when we were at Board Game Geek Con, and then we did some when we got back here. And so it's very similar, but we haven't actually gotten to like the last box.
yeah,
I think
I
another
think it's the
envelope.
second one. So yeah, but I'm playing
Yeah,
all play
but
accounts and like
it works.
slowly going through it.
Yeah, yeah. And
Solo? Have
and
you
with
tried it?
the no, I haven't
Okay,
tried it
not
with
even.
solo. But with the World of Warcraft, we played it again recently too, and the first game we played, it was just so it felt so easy, and I thought this is great. It gives a good feel. I like the characters and the hit count, and I love the different cards that give you different actions
Yeah.
and the dice. It's very interesting, and you have three different challenges, then you have the big challenge. But we played again with four, and we lost so hard, and I thought why did we lose? I wondered about the timing, and so my question to you is, playing on Mythic, do you find that one unlucky roll is the difference, or is it more strategic? Like, can you mitigate
Oh
against
no,
some
it's
bad?
massive strategy. No, I didn't find. I know I've obviously watched the dice style stuff, but I haven't found an issue at all with that. In terms of, so which levels have you played at? Obviously, there's four, so one is the easiest and four's the hardest, let's call it. Which levels have you played on so far?
Oh, just easy,
Oh, right, okay. So
easy,
yeah,
easy.
easy was just too easy, but so we're on to the hard.
It
So
felt too easy, but that
yeah,
was like
so even
after our
with
loss.
even with new players, I'm bringing them in at hard. I'm just starting off at the hard level, but I've played through every quest, so I've made sure I've been diligent. So now I've played every quest, I've played every character. That's me
Yeah.
personally. I've played it with a group, but I've also played it myself now. I've played it with every what are they called, support cards, like reward
Yeah.
cards. So I play with all them. And then for the
Oh.
video, I deliberately, they say to randomize the quests, but I thought they're random in the sense that as long as I haven't played with that unique group before, and
Oh yeah,
obviously
yeah.
there's a bit of upkeep with the quests because obviously sometimes they say remove one fist or something like that. So it's a bit of a slog to remember that. So sometimes for the video, I just try and pick an easier one. Um, but no, very much enjoy it. It's swift to play, it's quick to play. It's a bit of a pig to pack away though with the insert.
Mm,
It's a bit too tight, annoyingly. I haven't got rid of the insert yet, but I might. Um,
nice.
but yeah, 157 hours of gaming last month, which was 21% of all of January.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I
Wow.
didn't. Yeah, I logged all that stuff on here. Oh, there it is. 137 games, of which 31 were mine, 44 different games. And then, yeah, World of Warcraft was the second most. And then, oh, yeah, Wizard Jubilee, I think we talked about that before. Yeah, Tainted Grail, for the Synthesis again. First time playing it as a 4 for the owner of that copy. Arnak was played again, and a few others. Icky, Dinosaur World. Quite a few of these we haven't spoken about since, actually. I have opened Marvel Champions Vision, but I haven't played it yet. So I'm looking
Oh,
forward to that.
we same here. We
Yeah,
got yeah, Vision. And Vision's Lewis said that everyone likes Vision. Is that true?
I think he's a bit. I think he's like kind of like, how do I describe it? Uh, Trying to put it as an analogy, but not in a bad way. Like he could be on your team, but
But
you
he
know
doesn't care. He's
he's
just
buffer. Yeah, he's the
yeah.
COVID
Yeah, I
buffer.
mean,
If you had a COVID pack
yeah.
to sample, it's just a buffer. It just tests
Yeah,
stuff.
cuz see, I really like Vision. I like him for a variety of reasons, but I didn't think everybody else liked him because he's kind of impersonal. I mean, he's
Yeah,
just he's intelligence. He's not like a person,
yeah, I'd agree with
so
that.
to speak. But we did get that, and I'm really excited to play with that. But I haven't looked at his deck yet, so
All right.
that's new.
So yeah, my
And then the
vision.
Arnak.
Oh yeah, sorry. The
Oh
Arnak
yeah, go
expansion.
ahead. Yeah, have you seen that or included that
I'm
with your
aware
Arnak
of
play?
it, but so I don't own it, but I haven't played the expansion. I don't know if they have it, but
Oh, I didn't know if it was. We don't have
it's
it.
very long as a 4. As playing as a 4, the downtime is long, partially, but also so much stuff can change. So unlike Carcassonne, whereby you look at your tile in advance and then go, all right, I can still play it. Arnak, you're like, all right, doesn't matter what I've been thinking whilst I've been waiting for my turn. It's now completely changed again. I was like, ugh.
Yeah,
So, because my rating for Arnak is a lot lower than yours. I don't know how exactly what you score it. My rating is about 6.8, which isn't low.
yeah,
My average score for any game is 6.3. So it's above average, but it's a bit. Yeah, I feel like there's a few things they could have done better. I know they've got engine builds and stuff, and there's lots of different ways to win, see monsters and otherwise. And I like playing the other side of the board, but there's a few things I just wish they'd done. I mean, any game we can talk about, I can give you a negative, as I'm sure you could. Um, but
yeah.
yeah,
I feel like what I read about in the Spiel box, the expansion really addresses some of the concerns that people have with the base game for the imbalance or the lack of variety with the cards, or kind of amping up or changing that research track. And so I think there is some really interesting stuff I'd like to incorporate. So yeah, that's all I know though. I haven't played it.
cool. And so, in terms
Yeah.
of other games that you have arriving, I mean, in terms of, do you often, I don't know how people contact you. Do you say have people who go, oh, I've discovered you here, and well, I've watched your channel, I've seen something, can I send you something, or do you go, via your Queen contacts, say hi, do you reckon people can send you stuff, or how does it work, and how long have people been sending you stuff, and or giving you stuff, depending on if you're in person or otherwise.
Yeah, it's a really interesting process, and quite often, I don't know if it's because I've just got so much. on my plate. I have a full time job, and so for me that takes priority. And then my channel is there because I really enjoy it, and I just want to have fun, and I also want to share my love of games with people. That it isn't something that I'm always out there constantly seeking out and making connections and networks. For example, you reached out to me, and I was really grateful, but I'm not like putting myself out there. So usually it's people do contact me at my email, which is just tabletoptolson at Gmail. And I've had publishers write me. AEG found me pretty early on and said, we want to send you Cupidos, or we want to send you a Sheepy Time, and just, games that are coming out that are part of their, what is it, the thing they do right before Gen Con. They have a kind of favorite game night or
Yeah.
something like that. And some previews. So I got the Kickstarter preview for Rolling Heights, and that was exciting. And then just recently, Jamie Stegmeyer reached out to me and said, "Hey," and I was like, "This is awesome!" It's like whenever I had Wolfgang Warsch write me an email back in Board Game
Wow.
Geek email, because it was about the Gauntlet Clever,
Yeah.
and I said, "Can I post this?" Because I had to have permission from the designer to post existing copyrighted material for my Frankenstein monster spiel, or not Gauntlet Clever map. So I was like, ah.
Wow.
So
You
I'm
made your own
still.
version or something.
I did make a version
Wow.
of all three of the games that were my favorite parts from each of the
Oh,
games.
fantastic.
Yeah, and then I played it and I lost. I I played it against Lewis and he beat me. And it's just a more positive, joyful. It's all gets. It's not a balanced game at all, but it's my favorite little bits from all three of
Cool.
them. But I have these people reach out to me, and designers that just say, "Hey, same thing with Dan Halligan with Obsession. I made an Obsession video, and I said I love Obsession. I'm obsessed with it." And he said, "Fantastic! I can send you the newest expansions." And I was like, "That's great." So I think for me, it's the designers when they contact
Yeah.
me. Personally, I love that. Or when they post on my videos at Board Game Geek, I saw your video. Thanks for making it or something. But then people just say, "I've got a Kickstarter campaign coming out. Here's the rules. Here's the video. Would you be interested in doing a review or a promotional video for it?" And so if I have, like I say, March, February, it's like just slammed with lots of
Yeah.
Kickstarter stuff. So I had to be pretty selective. And one game that I just got recently that I'm obsessed with is Pathways. I don't know if you saw my video for that, but it's a flicking dexterity game
He
like
contacted me
Crokinole.
as
But
well, actually.
oh, it's so fun. It's
He's contacted
really
me so many
good.
different ways. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I read into it and I thought, and then I read into it and went, whoa, 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 wow. So yeah, I think I've got a meeting with
Yeah.
him next week, actually. So
Ah,
yeah,
so cool. Nice person, but and he's just straight north of me. So he's up in Canada,
yeah,
in Ottawa, I think. And so just some delight. So when
yeah.
people reach out to me, I never know who it's going to be, and it's just again really delightful.
I've noticed actually how many games that I have been sent, for example, and actually how much of a wow, like I wasn't expecting this to be good, or any game necessarily. You never expect them to be good.
Hmm.
I don't say you don't expect them, but you go, okay, well, unlike a game you might see in person, like you might trust it because your friend has got it, and I'm not saying they're going to stake
Yeah,
their
yeah,
reputation on it, but there are other people at a game
right.
group you can go, I'm going to play that person's game instead, maybe. But no, it's interesting because well, I'll talk to you about yourself. I think I may have mentioned it before. That, well, firstly, I think in America, obviously, postage and shipping and tax and customs, it's much easier to, you know, help people locally, let's say. So
Yeah,
obviously, there's a lot more of a publishing phenomenon going on in the States, but obviously, the UK isn't terribly small either. And in terms of that, they're well looked after. I mean, Todd, I don't know if you know Todd from AEG. So
mm,
Todd and I think another person called Seth, but there's a guy called Todd who was going to send me Villagers, the expansion for Villagers. Sorry, Villagers, the expansion for Tiny Towns. So this
yeah,
was a few
yeah,
years ago, and as you can tell, oh, yeah, probably a few years ago now. He never ended up sending it to me. So I was like, all right, not sure what happened there, but I messaged him, now and again. I mean, once every about 8 months now, just to his department saying, "Oh, hi there. You said you sent that. Do you have any more information?" But
yeah.
in terms of obviously yourself, one particular publisher, Cosmos, they were saying like we have 20 white male people in the UK or whatever we deal with. Obviously, we're looking to diversify. If you want to work with more, obviously, people, then great. And already was. They already knew. I think we talked about obviously the statistics of demographics between male and female. It's really evenly balanced. They really like that. But I just thought, okay, if there's anything else I can do, so there's loads of people on the continent in Europe who I'm working with on Instagram and stuff like that. But I was really keen to do YouTube, but of course, with the potential of the language barrier, I think as well, I think that may have been a factor. So obviously, working the other side was easier, apart from obviously the time zone, which is a bit of a bigger difference, but it's fine. But yeah, I mean, it happened that after a number of years, that people said, "Oh yeah, can we give you this?" I was like, "Okay, let's try that out." And yeah, it's interesting how that's changed, and always very flattered that there's only a certain amount that can be sent out. I'm very
Yeah.
happy that they're happy with whatever they've seen. So it's been really good. And some
Yeah, it
places,
is.
yeah, yeah. I'm guessing at conventions, I don't know if you've got a bigger thing. They're like, can we just give it to you in person? Is that easier? If that makes sense. Do you find that they can, because they can, it's easier to deal with you then? I don't know if you rock up and say, hey,
Yeah.
it's me or something, or do you know who I am or something?
So the thing about that is, I feel like back when I worked for Queen, and then afterwards, I started doing a lot of demos for and just a handful of people that I kind of started to get to know everybody at
Yeah,
a lot of the publishing companies. And so, I know Zev used to be Z-Man Games, and now he's with WizKids. And so I saw him, and we just talk at Board Game Geek Con, and he's like, "Yeah, talk to my people, and we'll get you, situated." But that was the first convention I've been to since I started my channel. So it's been 2 years, and I've been to one convention. And so I no, I don't know if it will be easier. Hopefully, it will be if I go to Origins and Gen Con, and maybe even some on the West Coast.
yeah,
But you know, if I see people I know, that's great. And if not, then usually I go to conventions as a gamer, and I
yeah,
like to enjoy my gaming time.
yeah, yeah.
But if something works out, then great. I welcome it.
Yeah, the first convention I think is about 17 games I brought back, but the most recent one is pretty much Zip, or maybe one or something, or one or two or three. And I think it really depends. I think marketing budgets were massively hit, as I was informed, because of the shipping costs from like China when they
Mm.
initially had their games across. Marketing budget, but well, some budgets had to be slashed somewhere, and I think marketing was the easiest for them. So maybe they're just reliant, or maybe with social media, people are just doing their own thing. They don't need to, which is fine. Again, based on everything else that I still have to do. Essen will be different again because if I'm driving, then of course I can come back with 95 odd games or
Oh
something
yeah,
potentially.
yeah,
Because if you have to
that's
fly with
awesome.
them, that's tricky. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Uh,
be interesting to see what
That's
happens
my
there.
problem is flying with games. We can't
Yeah,
really drive anywhere from where we live. We're too rural, too isolated.
yeah. I managed to take Micro Macro across to the Caribbean last week, but I didn't play it in the end because I couldn't find a big enough table at the Airbnb, which is fine. I'll just play it when I get back. It's the second one, but it's in my 10 by
Yeah.
10, so I need to try and play it 10 times this year. So that is still the aim.
Oh,
So
you will. I mean, they have 10 missions in there at least,
that's why I chose it because
Yeah,
I
that's
definitely.
great.
So yeah, I've still got
We
two
have to
boards.
get that back out on the table again. We went through a handful in both the first, I just Micro Macro Crime
Yeah,
City and then Full House. And so, yeah,
I've done
I
the promos.
it's
I still
fun.
need to open them up as well. So
Yeah.
do an unboxing so people show them. But I know for the Vision, I did a unboxing for Vision. I showed all the different cards, and there was some channels that were like,
Uh,
"Oh no, it's really nice to show all the cards." So, uh,
yeah.
but yeah, it's interesting to see again what on earth people watch because you never know what people are going to watch on the channel. It's like, all right, that's really interesting. Why on earth they watch this, and therefore I might try that. The dice distancing actually, I had like a thumbs down for that for at least one of them. It was mainly thumbs up, but I don't know. I don't own Space Hulk, the card game, but someone brought a die along
Oh.
of it from it because he brought along some other games, and I said sure I'll do a video for that, and then I posted it on BGG, and people went, haha, what's all this about? And it's just a way of discovery, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, looking forward to not only just playing other games but discovering new stuff.
Oh,
Who could we
absolutely.
see what else were played this month? Oh yeah, got Patchwork Valentines as well. So obviously that could be played. in a week or two.
Ooh,
Haven't done a
that's
playthrough for that yet.
exciting.
Yeah, that was yeah, nice and chocolatey pieces. It's a similar kind of game as the original. Nothing wrong
Yeah.
at all with the original.
No.
Earth and Water, so this two-player asymmetrical game. So I'm going to do a top 50 asymmetric games
Wait.
stockpile. It's by
Huh.
Mass Publishing. I think it's
A land. I have a game called Land and Sea, and it's a two-player game
okay.
where you place tiles and you create either ocean groupings or land groupings.
That sounds
Is
familiar, but it's a different game,
it
and this
sounds
is a war
almost
game.
like yours? It's
Yeah.
so weird. Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Um, what else? Seven Wonders Architects. Yeah, Castle Express, and a few other bits and bobs.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, in terms of any
Yeah.
other games you're looking to play between now and whenever we might catch up,
Oh,
probably on a Sunday in early March, what
yes.
else have you been discovering?
We got Now
Hmm.
or Never,
Oh yeah.
which is the new Ryan Lockett game, and I'm excited. It's heavy. We're gonna play. We're gonna play that. Try that. And then Role Player is another thing
Oh
that is
yeah.
on my yes on my to do list. And so
Shelf
if
of
we can
Shame.
get that going,
Okay.
yeah, it's on a chair of shame right now.
I
But yes.
think I know my score in Glukes was, which is a Queen game actually, 26, 25, 24. I think in Role Player it was a similar kind of score. I'm not sure I won at Role Player, but it was like a point in it. But coming back to Jamie, I know both he and I don't know about yourself, are into hiking a bit. And although I know in America saying hiking is a bit different to the UK, because hiking is a bit like rambling, I guess, in the UK. Well, there's two words for rambling. Rambling can mean just whittering on and chatting, or it can mean
Hmm.
you have big leather boots and you're kind of walking a lot. That's whereas hiking in American can just mean you're kind of just going for a walk, which is what we
No.
also say. Okay, hiking is hiking, so
Hiking
yeah,
for me means you're going on a hike. Mean you go on a trail, and the trail is
yeah,
like
trail
something
running.
official.
Yeah,
Yes.
cool. So I know I messaged him. I've been on this channel a few times, and I think I replied back a few years ago. And obviously, you can join his obviously subscriber list and stuff like that. I know he's after a certain amount of subscribers and all the rest, and there's all kinds of uh, things behind that. But obviously, my slight niche, well, fairly big niche, I guess, is of course is online. Sorry, so many in-person demonstrations at so many different places and all the rest. So I said, well, there's a bit different. You know, it's not one of your metrics. I haven't heard back from him, but it's interesting to see. I think I played all of his games apart from I think one of them. Like I haven't played Pendulum and
Ah,
Tapestry. So which of the ones when he contacted you? I mean, he says do whatever you want with the review, but
yeah, yeah.
you know,
He
and
has
you're
a really ethical policy about reviews. It's extensive too. So if you go to his website, Stonemeyer Games, yeah, it's interesting. He says do something significant with
yeah,
the games that we give you, but I don't look at them and judge them. I don't read them. I don't watch them. I don't know what you say about them. So feel free to have creative license, but also just your own take on it, which
yeah,
I really respect. So he contacted me and said, I was like, well, I have almost all your games. I have everything except for My Little Scythe and
ah,
Tapestry. And
okay,
so he said, would you like these games? And I said, I'll take My Little Scythe now. And
yeah,
then I wanted to make sure I did a review for that before I got something else because I feel like if I get too much, then I start to get a little overwhelmed. So we got a couple games of that in. I'd
I
like to
love
play
it.
with more people.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and I did a kind of over the shoulder playthrough, a couple turns to show like the basic actions and the way that the game works.
yeah.
So that'll come out shortly. But it was really nice to just kind of connect and yeah, kind of have a full Stonemeyer collection
Yeah, I've
because we
got
have everything
Charleston.
else.
Yeah, I haven't played Charleston yet. That's on my shelf of shame. But I yeah, so
Ah,
Midle Scythe I prefer over Scythe. I think I messaged him saying I prefer it because it's just straightforward, it's simpler. Nothing wrong with
yeah,
Scythe, but obviously I'm getting to a result quicker. And
yeah.
with I don't know if we talked about viticulture and the Rhine Valley expansion. Do you have that?
Mm-mm,
So that is my
no, I
favorite.
don't
I
think
mean,
so.
it elevates the game so much for me because I find people say it's a bit too luck based, viticulture, including Essential Edition. And I've only ever played it with wine, but when you actually play it with the Vine Valley expansion, it basically allows you to do stuff. I think either I can't remember which way around it is. You're either doing something so your opponents don't benefit, or you're doing it so always they do benefit. It basically, it just helps advance the game if anyone else gets stuck. So I love it.
Mm.
And often
Fantastic.
you can break the game, i.e., you can never make wine. So I've won the game and never made wine in the game, which obviously thematically is a bit
Oh.
odd. Um, but I used to
Uh,
work at wine place.
I was going to say someone we played recently, New Bedford. It's about whaling.
Oh yeah.
Um, and one of the players at our table never went whaling, and she came in second.
Well,
And so
I'd be happy
just
about that. Yeah.
she just built buildings, and she just that's all she did was stay in town and just gobbled up all of the buildings and just benefited off of people who brought whales back and couldn't pay for them, and then bought them in turn order with all of her
Whale
cash.
watching.
So good, so good. It was really smart. I was like, this is fantastic.
So I haven't played that game because of the whaling aspect, and my three hobbies are board games, films, and travel, or I say film, travel, board games. And I haven't been to Japan because I kill whales. So I've even
Oh no,
emailed. I know,
it's
not
terrible.
actually
I know,
whaling, but I haven't
I
also.
know.
Who was it? I forgot the designer's name. Uwe Rosenberg. I messaged him because I play Feast of Odin and I don't try to go whaling. But I also said to him, please can you take out the whales from this Viking game? Just because I'm so passionate about whales. In fact, I found out the place I'm in the
Yeah,
Caribbean, they actually hunt whales. They allowed 4 a year. I was like, oh no. So I wish I hadn't.
no,
Well, I
that's
wouldn't have gone otherwise.
terrible. And I tried to explain the game to someone just yesterday, and as I said it, I said, you go out and you just kill a bunch of whales and come back with them. And I don't. I'm a vegetarian. I'm a vegan. I don't eat meat and haven't for over a decade. And so for me, any animals that die, I know. Like
Yeah.
obviously, but playing a game, I'm like I can. I'm in Moby Dick world. I'm just. This is just. I'm embracing this. I'm trying.
Narcissist.
I'll try all the games. It's monstrous. It's absolutely.
Yeah.
They keep it very distant though. They don't use words that make you feel like you're doing a bad thing. They little whale cardboard chits.
Right. Oh, and they went for
I'm sorry.
cardboard. The mutinies.
I know.
Uh,
I'm sorry.
Tapestry, I haven't played online. I know it's a board game arena, so we'll get around to trying that out.
Yeah.
I think I might need to use the laptop over just the phone. I generally play Board Game Geek, and I've got a
Mm,
geek list of like games that are not suitable for phones. Which even I mentioned the admins or the creators of Board Game Arena have said this is a good list. Like we now can work
nice.
with this. So this is quite an old list, but
Yeah.
it shows you sometimes not ranting, but just saying yeah, there are some problems that they can fix it. No idea what else I might have arriving in terms of games between now and next month. Oh, apart from some Kickstarter previews, one of them which could take it says up to 4 hours on Board Game
Ooh.
Arena, Board Game Geek, which does
Oh,
sound a bit ominous, but apparently it's 40 minutes per player, so we'll see. But
okay.
it's as
Yeah.
and when these games arrive. But like I said, that
Yeah.
that game, obviously from Canada, sounds like really interesting to get people
Mhm.
clicking it. Plus,
Pathways.
I mean, the idea of when it says crocodile meets chess, in that sums it up. You don't need to really. I think it's chess or draft or checkers, isn't it? So
Yeah. Yeah. More of
and it
that.
speeds up.
Oh, it's so fun. It's really fun.
So yeah, looking forward to seeing that. But yeah, anything else we can wrap up, or in terms of obviously what we can discuss next time round? Like, obviously, I might finish that pandemic book. Tell you if they
Mm.
survive or whatever, if they make it.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely. If they make it back to Milan,
well, they will
wherever
be.
the.
They start now. They're in Leon, but they
Okay,
do.
Leon. There it
The
was.
guy has
Yeah.
flown across from Atlanta, so they got that in there.
There was
So
there.
yeah, so that sounds good.
No, I don't have anything. I mean, I'm just we're getting Kickstarters. I think they're kind of some are coming in. I know we're waiting for Project L, which I've already played,
Oh, I
but
haven't
I
played that
really
yet.
enjoyed.
Yeah,
It's
need
a
to play that.
nice, straightforward, shapes, Ubongo style, game. The pieces are really lovely. I got to play the copy at Board Game Geek, which is super. But we're waiting for our copy to get here, and
So
just
is
some
this you
other games that.
kickstarted it, or was this like a
Yeah,
collectible?
yeah.
Okay. So in terms of your
Yeah,
ratio
Kickstarter.
between, because I know Lewis has backed stuff like with the Dice Tower stuff as well. What's your
Yeah,
ratio between games that you've backed to games that you've been previewed or whatever it might be in terms of? Cause I guess at some point that might well switch because I know Tom Vassell did his anthology and it went from like 2002 or 2006 was in Korea and he
yeah,
received in 2004 I think it was Ticket to Ride because it was shipped across from China, which is much cheaper than to come all the way to America. So he was getting it ahead of more prominent reviewers at the time. because it was just easier, and
Oh,
that kind of
yeah.
made a name for him. And then when
Mhm.
he finally moved back to the States, he's getting 5 times more games because of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't know how his game
Yeah.
order progressed prior to that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I think it, for me, it feels like we're still, investing in games that we are interested in, whether it's Kickstarter or just, buying them because they're being released, just through third party or publisher.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm still receiving a handful of lovely games from all over. So maybe like half,
How's the
half.
teaching going? Because I know that you, as a teacher, you or a tutor, you find obviously rules are very important. So in
Hmm.
terms of that, I was wondering how maybe the effort and also maybe all the intrigue, the curiosity. I don't know how you would you know quantify that to say that when you're actually opening a game and going, okay, I've now got to read this, as opposed to
Hmm.
someone teaching you or being, telling you how to do it or knowing how to play a game through other people. Because if you're getting a game and there's no other videos to watch or something, then
Yeah.
do you ever have trepidations around that, or generally speaking, like, no, let's go through it and hope it's a really good rule book, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, you kind of have to trust the rule book at first, and if anything doesn't make sense, you can
Yeah,
try to cross-reference or talk it out or ask for help. But yeah, I mean, honestly, reading the rules and then just trying it. You have to just play it
yeah,
and then go back and
get
make
the pieces
sure,
out.
yes, yeah, I did everything right and it made sense when you played it.
Yeah,
I do have to say, I don't know if it's been spoiling, but it's definitely been an experience. Pretty much our whole relationship, Lewis has been the rule reader, and then I have. It took me about 2 or 3 years at the beginning of our relationship to learn how to listen to rules being taught to me. And so I think that that absolutely enhanced my listening skills, but it did put me at a detriment to reading rules and learning that way. So I've been doing a lot more reading in the last like 3 to 5 years. And so hopefully I'll just keep getting back in that way from the rules angle and not necessarily just from the listening and learning angle. But it's nice to have both.
okay. And in terms of when you have
Yeah.
imagine you have 2 games arrive, do you ever think, okay, this looks like a smaller game or a shorter game, I'm just going to review that one first, or how do you go about deciding, that one looks more interesting, maybe there's going to be more, there's no one else has done a video yet, or there's more hype maybe, like, Terraforming Mars, or is there something there? How do you justify which ones you may choose to go for first?
Such a good question because I think for every single day it changes. It
Yeah,
really does. I sometimes look at my schedule and I try to balance out, do I have a lot of this type of video or this type of game? And I
yeah,
try to add variety. I'm always wanting to make sure that I'm not doing the same thing. And that's just what my channel does, is just a variety of things, a variety of presentations and reviews. So I look for that, which can also be in weight, like complexity, but it also could be in length.
yeah, of course.
So that's my first kind of thing. And then I also, if something is really popular, it's like everyone's receiving it, like Return to Dark Tower, I prioritize that because people are excited about that game and they want to see it in action and they want to hear my thoughts about it. So I definitely push those forward if they're particularly popular at the time. And then, yeah, everything else I try to make sure I squeeze in when I can. I always know when I'm making a video that I will get very few views on, but it's a passion project for me. And I just say all my core viewers are just going to like it, but everyone else is going to say, "What is this?" And that's okay. I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
still choose to do that. It's my channel. I can put those out. So
It
I
could become
kind
a
of have
cult
a
hit.
maybe I'm waiting for those. I'm waiting for that.
10 years
So
time, like, oh, that's the best video. It's going to really rock it up. Of course, I don't know if you can spot it, but our viewer count is 0. But that's because, of course, it is in private mode currently. It's recorded separately as a backup. I think it was important to get that
oh,
backup in place.
so good.
But I haven't made a thumbnail yet. I want to make sure this goes live. But my plan is
Yeah.
potentially do it for tomorrow, because then I can alternate between the solo playthrough yesterday, another solo playthrough I made. And like, similar to what you said about variety, I don't like to do, in terms of me doing back-to-back stuff for the time being, which was never intentional. I don't want to do a solo playthrough and then the next day a solo playthrough, because not everyone watching plays solo. Not everyone
Hmm.
wants to watch dice distancing videos, so they're always a day apart as well if I can help it. And the same with obviously a review or an unboxing. I don't want to do them back to back.
Yeah.
But it's different when with
Yeah.
your schedule, whereby a day apart, more people are on YouTube every other day than potentially daily. I'm in more in the latter category, so it's hard to weigh it up. And again with
Yeah.
notifications. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Oh, in terms of your reviews though, I've been guilty
Hmm.
of this, where sometimes I rush a review in the sense that I think I want to get this review out about this game. I may not have played all player accounts, or I may have, but I may have only played it once each or something, and it's always been with new players. And either case, I've played the game and I've unfortunately taught something wrong. And then people watch
Mm.
it, and then, for example, or I miss something, so I do a playthrough of
Yeah.
Mandala, and I was given a copy by the designer's sister. And I didn't realize, again, I had no idea that that game would become really popular. Just like Cartographers, I got it 4 months
Yeah.
before anyone heard about it. And again, you don't know it's going to be good, or you don't know everyone else is going to like it, put it that way, and people are going to watch it. But of course, if you make any mistakes, like, oh, I watched this and you made a mistake, and then you just have to. What I do is say, always check the description, always check the comments. I'll see if I can fix it. But I don't know if you've ever, unfortunately, obviously, accidentally made a mistake. People think I might
No.
do it deliberately. I don't.
Yeah. No, of course not. And if you watch, people, I was going to say reviewers, and then say, but if you watch other people do these
Yeah.
things, they mess up too.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
messes up, and
Everyone I've
like
seen has. Yeah.
yeah, Rado runs through it. He calls it
I
his
didn't want to talk about him. Yeah.
Klingon channel, where he's
Yeah.
got like the stuff at the bottom. So
Yeah.
everybody, I mean, I've heard Vassal. I mean, he goes so fast, and he's you know you catch things, where he's
Yeah.
like, oh, that wasn't accurate, but it just happens. And so if I catch it from filming it to editing, I
Yeah.
will add a like a script. I'll add like actual text on the screen where I say, oopsie, like this
Yeah.
is wrong. And if it makes it all the way to being out there and then people correct me, I always say in the comments, you're right. That's the rule. Make sure everyone plays it this way. And I always acknowledge people who correct me, and I never get upset about it because, yeah, we're trying our hardest, but sometimes we just misspeak. Um,
Exactly.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
I mean, I know that you might be aware my one shots, it's just, there we go, that's how you do it. And generally speaking, it works well in terms of, okay, I've
yeah.
understood how to do it. It's like being there to do it. But obviously with editing, do you find how much time you spent to put it together? For making, I don't know, a 20-minute video, how much time is going into editing, into maybe preparing to do the video, obviously maybe a script, maybe the way you've organized it? How much of that time does that lead you to, out of interest? We're talking about 5 hours in total, including maybe upload and all the rest.
I would say if I can do, uh, if I can make a video in 5 hours, I would be really happy. And
Okay.
that's on the like low end. Sometimes it takes me up to, I don't know, I don't want to say 10 to 20 hours with some, but if there's the script, which takes the writing and revision,
Mm-hmm.
obviously the creative insight, because if it's a script, it's got to be something that I think is going to be entertaining and fun.
Yeah.
And so that takes a little bit more effort. And then the second part is I usually do costumes and a lot of different shoots. And so
Yeah.
for me, the lighting and the setup is a lot of time down in my basement where I'm just changing and doing everything different for all my different shots. And then editing, if it's something that's scripted where I do my sketches or something, those take much more time than you think, even if they're only 1 to 5 minutes long. It takes a lot of time for those, and I do some real, like, I guess, movie editing for that stuff. And
But you
so,
enjoy it though. I mean, it's really interesting
oh
to put
yeah,
it together. And what
absolutely.
you don't have to give away any secret sauce, but what editing things do you use? I've used, oh, I can't see it currently. It's an open source editing tool anyway. I'm wondering if
Yeah.
you've dabbled in anything particular, or do you use Apple or anything like that?
I don't have any Apple products. I do just non non Apple, which I probably should move to at some point.
Oh, great stuff. Why didn't you?
Particularly if I want to keep going. Yeah. And I think I fell into a free editing program when I first started, and then I just invested in their upgraded stuff, and it's just Movavi. Nothing
Okay.
special or
Mine's called
exciting, but
Open Shot, I think it's called. I've used Open
yeah, I
Shot.
was like, they get the job done.
Okay, but yeah, I mean
Yeah.
Apple. I haven't touched Apple either. I mean, back in the day, I think it was the iPhone 8, and I was laughing at how, I don't know, lacking of intuition it had. And it wasn't until I had a work phone, which was an
Mm.
iPhone SE, which was on the 2021. So I thought, no, this is really good. They've obviously upped their game now. But yeah, so far I've kept away from them as well. Similar to this, obviously, this call, we were using I was typically using Chrome, but I thought for some reason it's not working. Let's try Edge because it's a Windows laptop, so maybe I need to use a Microsoft product again. But no, obviously, hopefully we can catch up again next month. We got there.
Yeah.
We finally got there, even after about 20 minutes of us trying to get someone's audio or someone's video to work. I don't know why. I could test it on two different screens and it was working. But no, I think we've chatted a lot, and hopefully people will be interesting to see how
Yeah.
long people watch us for. And if they do, we can do another one. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I'll still let you get back to your afternoon, and I'll catch some Z's soon. So yeah,
Yeah, you
hopefully,
need to rest up from your big trip.
yeah, I know. And I'm gaming again tomorrow. Well, gaming every day, but what am I
That's
playing
great.
tomorrow?
That's so fun.
Tomorrow we're playing. Oh, we haven't decided yet. Maybe Western Legends, maybe Rolling
Mm.
Realms, maybe Crack the Code, and there's a couple of other
Mm.
games we may play. We're ordering a curry as well, so
Oh,
that's gonna
this
be
sounds
lovely.
delightful.
I know it's gonna be really good. That's a midweek
I
curry.
just have to go to work tomorrow.
Oh,
I know,
yeah.
right?
So the guy we're gaming with, he normally comes on the weekend, but he is because we're bribing him by saying if we have a curry, then I mean this will go out by then or after then, hopefully. So he doesn't know. But the plan is if he's having his curry, then he can stay later. So I don't
Mhm.
want to get the table messy. But there's two other games. Oh, I know. There was a Kickstarter, not Kickstarter preview, but it's the 5th edition of a Kickstarter called My Family or The Family, which isn't on BGG yet. But he wants to make a bigger game and he
Mm.
wants this to kind of fund first. So I've had that for a while now. Well, I say a while, some time, but basically I want to make sure that I get the right kind of group for it. And there's one other game which I may recall, or maybe Marvel Champions, because he's got all the expansions for that. So I'm
Mm.
looking forward
Nice.
to playing Vision because he hasn't played it two player. I mean, he has played it two player, I think. But I'm looking forward to doing that because he
Mm.
mainly plays it solo. So yeah, I've lent him a game as well.
Nice.
So Detective Society he tried out too. So I don't know where he's up with that, but cool.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, we'll
Well, have
agree.
fun.
Yeah, we'll agree sometime in March. Obviously, a weekend in March. Probably not the middle of the one because it's my birthday then. And the week prior, there's a football match through work that I'm attending. So maybe the first or towards the end, give you more of a break if necessary. But if not, the first weekend, first Sunday of the month
Yeah,
could
we'll
work.
figure it out.
But yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. I'll hit the stop button of a quick chat, and then we'll see. So wave you goodbye. Okay, bye for now.
See ya.